Hey guys, Alex here from HEXA Health Hub and welcome to part one of our three-part Triathlon Injury Series. In part one today, we are talking the most common injury that we see from swimmers, how we start to rehab those injuries from the get-go, and then secondly, the top exercises that we use to help improve performance. One of the most common injuries that we see from swimming training in the clinic is what we call shoulder impingement. Shoulder impingement is when you get pain in this front tip part of your shoulder, typically from some of the tendons that come from the back of your shoulder and insert into the top of your arm bone here, getting a bit aggravated or pinched through the space that they travel through when they attach into the front of the arm. Now, most of those tendons have to do with pulling the arm from being up and out and then down and in as what you would do in your swimming stroke. They can get tight, they can get aggravated in that space in the shoulder. So then the first part of the rehab process is trying to loosen up that shoulder area by going up and out into the other direction. So what we'll do is show you now a few mobility drills and release work that we show to our clients on how to start alleviating that pain. Now, all of this is just advice. If you are having pain or an injury from swimming, I would definitely advise that you go and have a one-on-one consultation so you know exactly what is happening with your pain and you can have your own tailored, customized program to rehab your specific injury. The first of these mobility drills, what you need is a roller and a couple of things that you can use as hand weights. Doesn't have to be hand weights, you can use something like couple of tins of baked beans, lying nice and flat lengthways on the roller and gently dropping your arms out to the sides. This is going to stretch the front of your shoulder and your pecs out, coming up and down at a nice slow tempo. When you get to the ground, relax your arms and then coming back up. You don't want to get just your hands down to the ground. You want to try and bend your elbows so your whole forearm comes down to the ground. That's going to stretch out more through your pecs. If you can't reach your elbows down to the ground, it means your hands are too high up in this direction. So just drop them by your sides a little bit more and you should be able to get your elbows down. Once that starts becoming too easy, all you have to do is slide your hands a little bit further up the ground until you start feeling more of that stretch. That's the first exercise. The second one is called scissors. Same weight, bringing your arms up. One arm goes down past your leg, but the other arm goes up above your head, reaching towards the ground. Now, when we do this one, we're focusing on stretching the top arm out. We're not really focusing on the arm that goes down past your leg. And what you need to be focusing on is that when the arm lifts up, you're not letting your lower back arch up or you're letting your rib cage flare up. You want to try to keep your rib cage pulled down so that your lower back stays nice and flat. Your rib cage will be encouraged to flare up and your lower back will be encouraged to arch, because we are stretching out your lats and your lats attach from that top part of your shoulder and come all the way down the side of the spine into the lower back and the hips. So if you're tight in your shoulder and you get to about here and your ribs start to lift off, that's because the tension of that lat muscle is pulling your back into extension. They're the first two mobility drills that you want to work on to try and loosen up around your shoulder. These next two exercises that we're going to show you are more so focused around release work, so really getting into those muscles and trying to free up any muscle tension there. We're going to focus on the lats and your pecs, both two very big muscles that we use in swimming and that both contribute to internal rotation of your shoulders or pulling your shoulders forwards and down. Get your roller, lay on your side, and you want to have the roller about 2 finger widths out of your armpit apex. Once you're there, your hand that is on the floor, use your fingers to really stretch out that arm as far as you can. That's your setup. From here, you're going to roll your top shoulder backwards and forwards, and you should feel it bump over that muscle that runs from your shoulder all the way down your side. That's your lats. It's your main, big, powerful swimming muscle. So you do a few rolls forwards and backwards there. Then you're going to roll up the roller a bit, so you're coming down your side a bit further, down that lat muscle, and then forwards and back some more. You can keep repeating this process, going all the way down, practically all the way down your rib cage. And then after that, that's where the bulk of the muscle belly of your lats are. There's no real point going any further past that point. The last release exercise that we're going to work on uses a spiky ball, trying to work into the front of your pecs, which help free up that internal rotation or that dropping forwards position of your shoulder that we typically see from a lot of swimming training. Get a spiky ball. You don't have to use a wall. It's actually easier if you use a door frame. That way, when you lean forwards into the ball, your head can be out of the way of the wall. You're gonna get the spiky ball, put it into your pec tissue. Now, you don't wanna go up near your collarbone where there's that little dip. There's not any muscle bulk there and you're not gonna get any release effect happening from it. So come away from that tip point of your shoulder, down into that thick bulk part of your pecs, lean against the wall, and then you're going to do a motion of moving your arm out to 90 degrees to the side and then back down while the ball stays in that same point on your pec. So then you're moving that muscle tissue back and forward under the pressure of the ball, creating a release effect. Now, a few key points. If you rotate your palm facing forwards, that will put more tension onto your pec. So you wanna have your palm facing forwards. And then before you start the arm out to the 90 degrees movement, I want you to pull your shoulder blade backwards. Those two things together will put a lot more tension on your pec. I'll show you on the other side. So stay away from that corner of your shoulder and come down into the bulk of your pec. Palm faces forwards, shoulder blade pulls back. Lean with as much pressure as what you can tolerate. And then come close to 90 degrees out the side if you can manage it. Now, if you have a bit of a play with this and a bit of a roll around on your pec on the ball, you'll find that there's a few points more than others that are going to be a bit more painful. Focus on those points and you'll get a lot more out of that release drill than if you just mosey on around aimlessly. So try and find those points that hurt more, put as much pressure as what you can tolerate, palm forwards, shoulder back, and then moving your arm out to the side to really work into that pec tissue to free it up. So we're now going to work on one of the main strengthening exercises that we use to improve the strength and muscular endurance and total functional capacity of the lats, or the main swimming muscle. Now, there is a secondary muscle that we use in swimming, and that's the push through at the end of the swim stroke using your triceps or the back of your arm. We incorporate that into this exercise by doing what we call a superset. Superset is where you move straight away from one exercise into another and get a bigger burnout of the muscles. The main or primary movement that we're going to be focusing on is called a lat pullover. What you need to do is grab a cable machine, put it all the way up to the top of the height of the cable machine, put a straight bar on and take half a step back, hinge at your hips and keep your chest extended, bottom pushed out so your back remains straight. Your arms can have a slight bend in the elbows, but you want to keep them relatively straight, and you're going to pull your arms down. Now, that's the easy bit. The hard bit is when you get down to here, not letting your shoulders drop forwards like what mine have done, but when you get to the bottom part of that pull stroke, squeezing your shoulders down and back behind you in that motion. So not forwards, but pulling the shoulders back. Stretch out, pull down, squeeze the shoulders. That will give you a bigger lat contraction at that bottom part of the movement, and it's also a better setup position for total health of your shoulder rather than letting it drop forward at every stroke. So when you pull down, not just finishing here, but finishing pulled all the way back through at the end of that stroke. That's the first part of the movement. So what we want to do is pick a weight that's relatively heavy, but so that you're able to manage 15 repetitions. Once you've gotten to the end of that 15 repetitions, you keep your shoulders set and locked in that position. Bend the elbows up and then press down. Now, the key part of this one is not letting your shoulders rotate or drop forwards like that at the end of your press. You need to use your lats now that they're already pre-fatigued from that first part of the exercise. You need to keep your lats engaged to squeeze your shoulder blades back. Now, the only body part moving is that elbow joint to really just burn out those triceps right at the end of that exercise. So you're starting with the straight arm lat pull over or pull down movement, pulling your shoulder blades back to really engage the lats. Once you've burnt them out, that big primary mover of the exercise, once you've burnt them out, hold them there, hold it, and finish off with doing those tricep push downs. Both those movements together will really help build up the muscular strength and endurance of your primary swimming muscles and improve your speed in the water.